to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Where are you going, Chuck? Damon is going to be a little late. John, you've been moved up.
Me?
You're lucky. We have a little revised edition,
I'm
and
sorry?
we have a little revised edition, and by gosh, you're the first.
Oh, okay.
You must have a lot of clout.
All right. Okay. What I'm here for is to ask the board to support Jeff and tell him that he should sign a letter of support for a potential grant that relates to sea level rise. The description of the grant is in planner speak, and I can only roughly translate it. Basically, it's some public education information to disseminate. It is 2 levels of detail of storm surge mapping to show vulnerabilities. And thirdly, some help in finding money to do all of this with. The amount of the grant, and it's CZM money, and it's being applied for. We're supporting the town of Essex, who's doing all the grunt work on this. It's being applied for via the Sandy Grant program. Essex is doing the work. It's probably the whole thing for the 6 communities. It looks like it's going to amount to something in the order of $10,000, $12,000, $15,000 per community. Okay, which you can't get a huge amount for that, but by the same token, I don't see anything bad coming out of what they're promising. There's all good things, and it would be supportive of the program that we're already into, which is the follow-on with municipalities that Jeff worked so hard on. This started last Thursday. I got an email that said, please call me, from National Wildlife Federation up in Vermont. And so I did, and it's everything has come on about 1 sentence at a time. Every time I come to work in the morning, with a slightly different picture. One morning's surprise was, oh, they want $3,000. And yeah, exactly. I don't have much authority, but I got authority enough to say you can't have $3,000. So we took care of that right off the bat. They do accept the in lieu of at $22.50 an hour, and I feel very confident that we can talk enough people into helping to pull it off with work in kind. Okay, now my goal is not to use town employees other than for advice. Okay, we got town employees have all they can do to do their day job. This would be volunteers. The way we're running the stormwater program is basically volunteers. The letter of support has to be in tomorrow, actually.
No pressure.
Well,
Pressure there, right.
John,
The good news is Ellen has it all typed.
welcome to Chris Hilke's world.
Oh, yeah.
I think John has pretty much really put that together, but John and others in our town are involved in the Sandy Grant, which a group and myself have brought to the town. Part of that Sandy Grant, beyond stuff that's intensively working in the Great Marsh, is storm surge resiliency. And any money we can, the storm surge resiliency money out of the Sandy Grant would be mostly planning and recognizing places.
Yeah.
So
And advice.
through already, just so for your information, they're already going to John. So that has to say something. You know, that's because of your relationship with the chair of the Board of Selectmen in Essex.
Because that's what somebody put me in.
Well, no, I think they're going to you because, no, you know what you're doing. So if we can get a little more money once these places are recognized, then maybe we can do certain things that would be able to influence, change, upgrade, or maybe even use that money to look for more money if they're larger things to try to change the places that were vulnerable in the town of Newbury to sea level rise or large storms is probably more what I worry about right now, because we're going to get large storms. So
So
That's about what it is.
I would ask the board to.
So, and we're looking for a motion for me to be able to sign this letter for the group of people from Essex to Newburyport to participate in this grant procedure.
So moved.
Where's the letter?
Want me to read it to you, or you want to look at it?
I'll look at it.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Excuse me, oh, by the way, I did yesterday cut Tracy in on all of this. I've got a file to send her and to send you.
Yep.
Not terribly meaningful, but it's all I've got.
Okay.
I haven't done it. Today was an awful day.
All right.
Tomorrow, the next day, I'll get it to you.
Tell me when.
Go, I can listen.
All right, so, do we have a second? Jad, did you second it? Do we
Seconded.
Second it. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
7:15, we have, more like 7:40, we might be able to tie up. Oh, no, this is the National Grid thing, it's not Borrego. So 7:15, we have a poll,
Thank you.
so we'll head into the town administrator report.
Sure. At the end of the last meeting, we had talked about setting the date for the special election, and the only thing definitive was that it was no later than September 15th. So I don't know if everyone had an opportunity to think about it, and if you would like to move forward with that.
Did that come out of the packet in this revised, or did we have in new business a place where we were gonna vote for that, Ellen? Did we have a place in here? I can't remember now, because it's changed. Okay, it is under old business. So Tracy, when we get to that, or you want us to do it right now and get it out of the way?
It doesn't matter.
Why don't we do it,
And we move to the agenda.
say it again?
Want to move to the agenda?
Yep, and then we'll get back to it then.
Okay. The sewer connection project has gone out to bid, and we'll be holding a pre-bid conference on June 17th, and then we expect to open bids on July 1st. So I've had a number of, questions about the placement of the trailers, and just so people understand that that whole parking area over here is where the sewer connection will be constructed, so
Yep.
that's why we didn't put any more trailers out.
Well,
there.
and I think the idea is when the construction is done,
Mhm.
if it seems reasonable, we might pick that trailer up and move it out of the way to
We'd have
increase
to
some
get
parking.
funding because it was quite expensive.
Was it, to place
to
it?
do all the tie-ins, but that's something that you could consider if you
Okay.
wish to. There's a group that has formed of the Whittier communities, and they have formed a subcommittee, and they wanted to get a representative from the Board of Selectmen from the town of Newbury. They're discussing a possible revised admission policy, school choice and transportation, among other things. So I didn't know if,
Don't we already have school committee, Whittier school committee
this
people?
is a subcommittee. This is a subcommittee of the towns, the communities that are part of it. I don't believe that the district is participating in this subcommittee that I'm aware of.
No, not the Triton Regional School District, but don't we have Newbury reps to the Whittier school committee?
Mhm.
They don't want them?
This, I didn't read this, this is in your report.
Mhm.
Can you stretch it a little bit so I kind of understand it a
I
little
don't think
more?
they're pleased with the admission policy of the district. I think they're talking about wanting to change it. So they're, they seem to be going outside of the seated committee. And this was a letter that came from the town of West Newbury, asking for a member of the Newbury Board of Selectmen to work with their formed volunteer subcommittee. They're not an official committee of the district.
Now, is this, do you have any feel for that they want to make it harder, or it's too hard now? I mean,
I don't know. I don't know.
They want more in-district kids getting.
So I have a question. What's the role of the school committee representatives from Newbury on the Whittier committee? What's their role?
Same as the Triton School Committee members.
So why don't we ask them first before we?
Sure.
So, West Newbury is out front trying to put this together, and they have a letter to us and probably have a letter to all the other communities.
As far as I know.
I mean,
When does this have to be done?
yeah, my idea is to wait and watch and see what's going on.
Well, I think
So-
we should ask
I am-
our town of Newbury representative, the school committee, what they think.
Well, we have one
And
here.
her-
Actually, Joanne,
Robin, can you come up,
Oh,
please?
I can just respond briefly to questions about it. Robin Williams, school committee representative from Newbury. I think what is happening is that a lot of local superintendents are questioning the admissions policy regarding Whittier. And yes, there is a frustration that a lot of our kids aren't getting in. And so I know our superintendent has written letters directly and has not received a response. I think, member communities are frustrated with the admissions policy, and it does sound like it's a committee completely outside of the school committee rep, but I think it is worth your time to contact Joanna True, who is the sitting
yeah, how many
school
school
committee member on the
committee
Whittier School
reps do we have in Newbury
Just
to
one,
Whittier?
just one, just
Oh, just
one.
one.
But you might find out there's the policy's being reviewed, you may not, I don't know, but I think it's probably a wise idea to at least contact her first and maybe revisit the idea as a board.
Not to display stupidity, but when you say outside the district, how far away do they recruit?
There are 11 member communities, I believe, that attend Whittier. And they do offer school choice as well, so if they don't fill up all their spots with those 11 communities, they will allow people from outside of that to come in, and I think that's the frustration, that we should be serving our own kids first. But I don't sit on those boards, so I'm not totally informed, but I do like your idea about at least communicating with your representative first, and then.
Yeah, I'd like to hear from her first. She sits on the committee.
Should we have a motion that could go your way?
We could summon her.
Do you want to bring it to a meeting, or do you want to initiate the beginning of the meeting? Do you want her to come to a meeting?
Whatever you think is best.
Why don't we do this? It makes sense. Let's have her come to our meeting, so that people on TV can see it, and it's wide open, and we know what's going
Okay,
on.
but is there a deadline that they need a response by?
So, we'll entertain a motion.
I motion to ask the Whittier school committee representative from the town of Newbury to attend the next meeting, July meeting, and fill us in on what's going around the Whittier district.
Okay.
Seconded.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
We'll invite her in. I also wanted to report to the board that I had a meeting last week with Peter Quimby, the headmaster of the Governor's Academy, and Christopher Wayshirt, and they notified us of their willingness to make a donation to the town in the amount of $20,000. In our conversation, we had discussions about possibly utilizing that for the equipment, the dispatch equipment that's going to be needed for the fire department and the police department to join their radios now that the PD is going to be dispatching for the function. So that was a possible use for that, but we're all very grateful that they would consider that in lieu of a pilot payment.
Very good.
So that was great news. In terms of an update for the trailers, they've obviously been delivered and are being set up as we speak. We hope that they will be operational within the next 2 to 3 weeks. So, and everyone will be, working out of them. That's the hopeful deadline. Harvard Way, there was an issue with inaccessibility of the right-of-way because of the erosion in that particular area. Under the direction of our conservation agent, Doug Packer, sand was delivered by the DPW this week, addressing that problem. And Ron Barrett actually was very instrumental in helping secure the sand for that fix. So please join me in thanking him
Yes.
for his
Thank
you, Ron.
assistance. In addition, the signage at the right-of-ways, it was an MRBA initiative. I really don't know when it was started because it was before I got here. But the signage is being installed currently at all of the right-of-ways along Plum Island, and PITA actually donated the signs for the community, so that's going on right now. Hay
Thank you, PITA.
Green, yeah, thank you, PITA. Hay Green in Boston, road work is wrapping up. They're tying in the driveways
Yep.
now, I think, and that's all they've got left to do there.
They've done a great job.
Can
It
I-
looks
can I ask-
absolutely fabulous.
Can I ask a question about that, though?
Mm-hmm.
Silver Ledge is off of, I think, Hay. It's a cul-de-sac road.
Boston.
Is it Boston
Boston.
Road?
Yep.
They half paved that road. They went up and they stopped. And it's a little odd, I thought. They didn't finish the whole circle.
Was that done last, was that done last
Yeah, it was
year?
done last year, but I was thinking while they were, I was told that they stopped paving the whole road because they ran out of asphalt or money or something. And then when they did this road, I thought they could finish that road, but they didn't. And if they're still doing work, could they finish it?
It wasn't approved by Mass Highway. That was not a submitted project, but I can find out why they didn't complete the paving last year.
I just thought that was strange.
I can ask the DPW director and get back to you on that one.
Chairman Walker, could I make a comment?
Yes, come on up.
Dale Williams, Scotland Heights, Newbury. It's just in regards to this paving. I saw them out there today. They're putting some lin pack on some of the edges, but some of the edges of those roads are some 4-6 inches high. If we don't do something along the edges, they're just going to break down with mail trucks going on and off, vehicles going on and off, and then we're going to compromise the road again. So I don't know if that's in the plans for the lin pack to go along the edges where there's, sufficient elevation.
Yes, it is.
It is.
Chuck, do you know?
Yeah, he has plans on taking care of all of the side of those roads, because he knows that if you run off the edge of the road, it's gonna ruin it. That's his job. That's what he does. So, yeah, he's working at it. It's just there's so many man-hours in the course of a week. The driveways come first, then all the edges of the roads. And it's just so many hours in a week. So, yeah, work in progress.
And I think that's good, because when that limb pack gets, settled in and gets hard, then some of the stuff from plowing and vegetation and things, you're gonna reach your elevation. But I looked at it too, and I'm thinking, wow, that's a big drop. So, thank you, Chuck. Tracy?
In terms of the ambulance service agreement, right now, Deputy Chief Janburn and Chief Walker are both working with the Office of Emergency Medical Services with the state to get the licenses, the two protection company licenses transferred over to the town. We also met with Comstar, and we'll be executing a contract agreement. They'll be doing the billing on behalf of the town for the ambulance services. Do you need to go into your,
How much more do you have?
that's all right, you can come back.
Okay, we do have a, have you got the language in front of you? My new packet.
Public hearing?
We do have a public hearing, and it's the poll that came before us before.
Yeah, legal notice, Town of Newbury. A public hearing will be held on Tuesday, June 9th at 7:15 at the Newbury Town Hall, 25 High Road, Newbury, Mass. On the petition of National Grid and Verizon New England, Inc., Plan Number 184031411. Request permission to locate poles, wires, fixtures, including the necessary sustaining and protecting features along and across the public way 16th T Street. National Grid to install pole 8-1, 28 feet from pole 8. Also for permission to lay and maintain underground laterals, cables, and wires in the above or intersecting public ways for the purpose of making connections with such poles and buildings as each of said petitioners may desire for distributing purposes.
How are you?
Good evening.
Good.
Sam Eng, North Andover Design, National Grid.
Yep.
Yep, so we would like to install pole 8-1, 28 feet from pole 8 to serve the customer at 16th T Street.
Now, Sam, this is a little more definitive when we look at it, but I'm still, maybe everyone else is sharp enough on it. Are these poles in a straight line now?
Yes, they are.
And then, when they're in a straight line, it goes to the corner of the lot that was in question and then goes across the street? Or does that,
No, it
that
goes to the-
lot is the one it needs to be at?
Yes, it's at the
Good.
corner of the lot, then
Right.
secondary wire will serve the building.
Do you follow what, the difference in this one?
I,
If not, ask
I
him
can-
right now.
I went and looked at it, I can clarify on the map a
ahead,
little
do
bit.
it.
Basically, if everyone wants to
Yep.
look.
So they're in a straight line now like they
This is
should be, right?
This is the new house.
Yep,
There's a stop sign right here and a monument.
Yep.
And a stake. The wires come straight down the street. There's a pole here now.
yep,
It's gonna continue, how many feet was it, 20?
28
yep,
feet.
20 feet.
It's gonna continue 28 feet in a straight line. I spoke to the man in this house, he has no problem with
Yep.
it. And it'll stop here, and then the temporary service to the new house is right about here. So it'll have to go underground about
Good,
10 to 15 feet approximately, and then it's gonna continue to his house underground.
makes good sense.
And this is the boat ramp that's being spoken
Yep.
of, which is, it's in very rough shape. I'd say it's good for small craft at this point only.
JR, thank you for taking the initiative to get down and look at that. So, I think that's, makes a big difference. So, do we have anyone here that would like to speak on this process? So. I'm a neighbor, I'm in favor of it. Great, great.
Very good.
Excellent.
So I'd entertain a motion.
Motion to approve?
Second motion.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Very much.
Much easier
Have a
that
good night.
Sam, thanks. Tracy, you want to finish?
Yep. We had an opportunity to meet with the attorney representing the two private fire companies today, and we did come to an agreement as far as the terms of the lease agreements, and expect to have them executed by the end of this month, which is great progress.
Wow.
Also, just wanted to let you know that we have a newly appointed assistant treasurer collector, I'm sorry. Caitlin McCarthy is her name. She's coming to us via the Beverly Police Department is where she's working currently. So she'll be beginning the end of this month. And I did want to express our gratitude to Heidi Fram, who has filled in for the last couple of months and kept things going in the office. She's been great during the transition. Is she here?
Yeah.
Oh,
Right there.
thank you.
Thanks, Heidi.
The only other thing I did want to ask is if we can start, or we can implement a Thursday deadline for agenda items, Thursday at noon. We had done that in the past, and it seemed to work out pretty well, because what's happening now is we're getting items last minute, and then we're trying to include them in the packet, but you don't have a chance to review them prior to the meeting, and we were making photocopies feverishly before the meeting, and it got a little confusing, and hopefully everyone's got what they need in their packets, but I think it just ends up with a
Yeah, do
smooth
we need a motion
execution
to
of the
make,
meeting.
just,
No,
yeah.
I
I
just-
think Tracy's right. I mean, I'm looking at the packet I studied, and then the packet that's revised in front of me has a lot more girth and width and volume. So that's why I'm stumbling a little tonight, beyond other things that I probably have anyway. But once again, it would behoove people, what's the time on Thursday?
Noon.
To have everything they need to have on our agenda for our selectmen's meeting the Thursday before the meeting by 12 noon. So, is that it?
That's it.
Okay. Thank you, Tracy. Under new business, we have discussion and appointment of the open school committee seat. And before we head into that, I did get a letter from, or all of us got a letter from Dina Sullivan, Secretary of the Triton School Committee. Dear Selectmen, as you are aware, there is a vacancy on the school committee that needs to be filled by a resident of Newbury. Per Triton Regional Agreement, any vacancy occurring in the Regional District School Committee for any cause shall be filled by a local Board of Selectmen, and remaining Regional District School Committee members from the town in which the vacancy occurs. Such replacements shall serve until the next scheduled regional district school committee election, at which time a candidate shall be elected to fill the remainder of the term. I mean, that's pretty obvious to me. Robin, do you want to flesh that out in any way? Oh, Dina, I didn't see you. Gina, do you want to speak to your letter at all?
Dina Sullivan, Triton School Committee. Actually, the town clerk had contacted me about, contacting the Board of Selectmen about filling this vacancy as soon as possible. And what you read, Jeff, is straight from the regional agreement. So we do need to decide upon, as soon as possible, a replacement for the open seat. And they serve until the next election. That's my understanding. And then
Now, do we have any letters of intent, Ellen,
There's two,
in this packet now?
they're not in the packet, they're separate.
Okay,
And one of those was Maureen Pepperin, she sent an email.
okay.
And then the other was just dropped off today by Mark.
Zan.
Maureen is here in attendance this evening, too.
So in essence, though, we should try to strike a date before we head too deeply into this with the remaining members of the school committee to discuss the thing in total.
Well,
That's
it's tonight.
Then that's why we have everyone here tonight.
Yep.
Good.
Yep.
All right, I was having a little trouble with that. I didn't know if it had to be before the meeting or not. All right,
What, do we want those two to come up here?
they can come
Read.
up to the front of the room, especially,
They gotta,
As far as I know, Mark wasn't able to attend.
Mark wasn't?
I don't know it.
He's not here.
yeah, but do we have copies for them too? For the school committee, two school committee, okay.
Yeah, they had an email to them.
Okay. So why don't you just come up here? Grab a seat.
Just pull a chair over.
Yeah, come on,
That's my bag, you
please.
can move it out of the way. So did you get these two letters as well? The two letters of the intent?
Just today I received Mark Sant's
He
letter.
just came in today and dropped it off.
And
But I
then
was
there's
aware of
Maureen Heffernan.
Maureen's intention as well.
Okay.
And Robin just gave me a copy of this. I'd like to see Maureen's if I could. I
Yeah.
didn't see it.
Does Maureen have a bio too?
That
No.
was what we received.
Right, here, yeah, you're
Maureen-
gonna be your bio.
A live version.
Yeah, can you get up and speak to a little bit about why you want to be on the committee? What your history is and yada, yada, yada?
Yeah, well, Maureen Heffernan. I live at 11 Adams Lane, and I have been a resident here in Newbury since 2007. I've had, actually, I have 3 children, and they've been in the school district since we moved here. I've been involved in Newbury Elementary School since the start, and I became the PTA president in 2009 to 2011. I also have served on the Newbury Elementary School Council for 2 years under Michael Tracy. I actually did do some school council service before that with Sylvia Jordan. I've had the opportunity to serve on the school council at the middle school under Mr. Falcone, and then I started 1 year with the current principal, but we had too many members, so I stepped down. And I am now currently a member of the high school council, so I've been working with Catherine Daw for 2 years now. I've also served on several selection search committees. I served on the high school, it was the chief academic officer's position that we were looking for, Kim Croto. And I've also served on search committee for the principal, the current principal at Newbury Elementary, Beth Yando. And I served on the search committee for Michael Tracy and the search committee for Heather Leonard, who the previous assistant principal at Newbury. I have a son that will be graduating next year from Triton, and I have a daughter that is still at Newbury. So I still have quite a bit of time in the school district. I care a great deal about Triton. I think that the Triton district has come a long way in just a short time that we've lived here. I see great improvements, and I really would like to be a part of that. So I just felt that it was a good time for me to submit my name forward to possibly fill this seat for the year.
Ellen, did Mark know that on appointments, they usually have to be here?
Yes.
Yeah, I spoke with him today. I encouraged him to submit. His daughters are graduating from 8th grade tonight, so he had
Family first.
an educational commitment elsewhere.
Yep.
So, if does anyone have any questions of Maureen, because Maureen is here from our board and from any of the school committee members? I mean,
I don't have a
do
question.
you have enough time? You all set? Everything, yep, all we're ready to go?
I want to say, too, I didn't submit a letter because I had submitted my email and was just told to come to the meeting. So I would
You
have
weren't
written
quite prepared, yeah.
a bio or a letter. I just, had
Yeah.
gotten an email saying to be here, so that's why I'm here.
Go ahead.
Question or comment?
Robin,
I
yep.
mean, I don't have a question. For Maureen, I've served alongside her for 12 years now. Our children are in the same grades, so I have seen her in the trenches. I have seen her volunteer endlessly. I think she's passionate, but not emotional. I think she is highly committed, and with 3 children in the district in 3 of our 5 schools. Am I right on that?
No, Owen's a freshman this year, so
So you'll have
2
2
at
in
the
the
high
high
school
school
and
and 1
one at
in
Newbury.
the elementary. I think there's nothing like the heart of a volunteer. And while I think Mark has a tremendous resume and both candidates would be a wonderful addition to the school committee, the fact that Maureen's children are in the district is very important to me, because I learn more from what my kids say at the dinner table, from the experience they're having with teachers, with grades, with extracurricular activities. The time I spend in each of those schools, because my children are in those schools, you have your finger on the pulse. And I think while there's always a learning curve whenever you become a new member on a committee, I think Maureen has great constitutional knowledge over the last 12 years and has displayed her commitment through her volunteerism. So I wholeheartedly support her appointment to this position.
Alicia, any comment?
I, too, have worked alongside Maureen on several different events, and I think that, or 7 different committees and events. Again, I echo Robin's comments that the heart of a volunteer, there really is nothing like that. And where her children attend the school, she's vested in it, and I think she'd make a perfect addition to the school committee.
Chuck? I would say that however this goes tonight with the board, that the other person should definitely, try to I mean, Mark has a great, he would be an asset to whatever part of our
He is
community.
an asset, because I have worked with him on things as well.
Well, he'd be a
He's
great,
still an
whatever
asset.
happens tonight, or for yourself also. Damon?
You mentioned when you were giving us your bio a number of volunteer things that you would do. Are you going to be able to keep being on school committee and doing the other volunteering?
Well, I mean, I can certainly continue to be a part of the PTA, and that's an important thing for me. I have mentioned to Catherine Daw my interest in serving the 1 year, and we looked up the rules for the school council, and I would actually not be able to serve on school council and be a school committee member.
Okay.
So we've discussed that, and, we've talked about what would happen if that, I would
comes to pass. And does anyone know how do the school committee seats get filled versus,
School council?
school council seats get filled?
Usually it's, parents will submit their, it's a council, it's equal numbers of teachers and parents. And so parents will submit their names in the beginning of the school year to say that they're interested. If you have more parents than you have seats, the PTA holds an election. And you serve usually for a 2-year term. So,
Okay.
JR?
No questions.
Jeff, can I add 2
Yes,
cents?
go ahead.
Kind of went
Oh,
around the room.
sorry, yep.
Unlike everybody else, I mean, I've worked with Maureen too, and I think she's a wonderful candidate. My only difference with Alicia and Robin is I don't have kids in the district, and I don't think that that's necessarily a detriment. I think we have a good balance there, but I think Maureen has shown commitment to the district. She is interested in what's going on. Even when we were doing the, looking at whether to merge the middle school and the high school, did you serve on that
forgot
as
to
well?
mention that.
I
I
was
also
gonna say
served
that
on the,
because that's the point I wanted to
Right.
make, is
Merger
that
committee.
I was chair of the school committee then, and I attended all those meetings, not because I had to, but because I wanted to see the process. And I think that in the discussions that I heard during that time, and that was a very contentious issue, Maureen was very level-headed. She had an opinion. She backed up her opinion with research, and that's what we need on school committee. I don't want somebody who's just gonna say yes. I want somebody who's gonna ask questions, somebody who has a view, who's not afraid to speak out, and I think she certainly fulfills those requirements for me. I don't know Mark, from what I've read in this letter, certainly would be a qualified candidate too, but I would wholeheartedly support Maureen's appointment.
Do I have a motion from the table?
I'll motion to appoint Maureen Heffernan
Do I have a second?
to the school committee.
Second.
Now, is there any discussion?
Do all of us vote? Okay.
Yes.
Just wanted to clarify. And since I suggested that Mark submit, should I actually abstain from voting since I have, or is it not a conflict of
No,
interest
I
somehow?
don't think so.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those not in favor?
You got it.
You got it. Now,
Congratulations.
I have to say this to Mark, if he watches this on TV. The members of the school committee were able to flesh out your commitment to the schools, and you've already worked with them before, and I think for the year that we have ahead of us until the next election, it's a good fit. Whether you run again or someone like Mark does, I hope Mark, with your help, Damon, I'm glad you've got him motivated, becomes part of, this is a very, very significant resume, and hopefully he can become part of things in our
Get a
community.
little more vested.
Yep, yep, all right?
And Jeff, I'm glad you said that, because I think
Great.
that's important.
Yeah,
Really do.
well, we got a lot of needs, from PACs to, we could use a lot of help, and I'm
And
very
now we
pleased to have some new
will
people
find
stepping
you.
forward.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, school committee members. Susan, discussion. Are you ready? With Susan Noyce, discussion with the IT administrator regarding strategy and policy use for the Board of Selectmen iPads. Do you want to go to the microphone, or let it go?
Okay, again, my name is Susan Noyce. I'm representing the IT department for the town of Newbury. I was asked to come and talk about a couple of technologies for the town, one of which being the iPads, and the second of which being the website. So, we'll talk about the iPads briefly. I'll give you a little bit of history. A couple of years ago, the board voted to institute the usage of iPads, which was partially embraced, not totally embraced. We tried to utilize the iPads as a way to communicate consistently amongst the board, using consistent tools, same messaging, and allowing information to be at their fingertips at any given moment, whether it We've had some change and shift in the board. It's a good time to evaluate the use of the iPads, what you want to get out of the iPads, how you intend to use them, and really what my job is to implement what's going to make your usage sufficient for you. So in the past, we have used the iPads via Dropbox application with the iPads, where we inserted documents for the board in there. So you would access the Dropbox application and pull documents that were uploaded either by Tracy or by Selectman Secretary that were up for review either at a meeting and or some other subject matter that was of importance during the time period in between a meeting. We also used email in that there was an email set up, Town of Newbury domain email for each of the selectmen, whereby that email was set up and would forward into the Board of Selectmen email right now, which will be Ellen, and then sorted into folders for each of the selectmen.
I like
so
that.
then they could access those emails and respond and file and sort and retain. The idea from there is to kind of create folders under your named folder so you could sort by department or sort by topic. So if you wanted to go back to them, they would be available and you'd be able to go back to them. Again, it's archived, it's backed up, it's, you know, town communication, so it should be via town tool. So that's kind of the concept that we're looking at right now. But again, looking for feedback. I know some of you haven't used them here before, some of you have. So, you know, if you want to send along what you think you'd like to use the iPad for, if we'd like to kind of do a trial now with getting them instituted and just kind of using the email as a start of a way to communicate everything to you via this Board of Selectmen email, where you each have an email, would set up the folders, set up some initial organization with you, and let you try it for a while, you know, a month or so, and see if that's meeting your needs or not.
I have a question. Would the emails now come to that, so when I get emailed the packet, before it would go to that email and not my personal email?
Correct.
I really like that idea.
Yes. Which it really should.
Yes, it should.
It's town business, so it really
Yes.
should go via.
No, I really, really like that idea.
I worked with the iPad before. Chuck, you were here.
Yep.
I think what Alicia just said is really important. I know everyone thinks that I don't like them. What I don't like about them is, I think getting emails, being able to work with them at home, I still like my safety net, just because of being probably 68 years old. But the other thing is too, I don't know if it's worth the added expense to put the iPads on the cell phone. You know, if I'm going somewhere to work and I bring this packet, I can study it. So, but getting, like Alicia just said, because my computer doesn't get a lot from Ellen now, for some reason, remember, Susan? So it would be a really good thing so that I would get everything, and I would love to use the iPad in that way. Just for me, I needed a little bit of the safety net of paper in front of me, and I need to be able to put it in my back pocket, but that's, I know, Damon, you're using the iPad a lot in front of you the other day, weren't you? I mean, you've got
Yeah.
your little, so, I mean, you're probably more comfortable. JR, I don't know about you.
I don't know anything about Apple, but Mike Olson, who's a resident, has offered to assist me in learning. He also teaches courses at the library, and I'm sure he would be willing to assist
Yeah.
anyone else on the board.
Chuck?
I have the two computers. I have my home one. That's where I'm getting my emails now, and I found I wasn't using the iPad. I am an extreme technophobe, more like a stumble bum than a technophobe. I
Old
mean.
school.
And as I said, I found I just wasn't using it.
And I
That's
think
all.
the difference
It's-
this time in how we're approaching it is it's
Right.
purely email. It's not forcing you to use another application that's been installed on the iPad.
Would it be
to
all-
access the information.
Sorry. Would it be all or nothing, like we all use
You
it,
should all
or?
use the same tool, yeah, you should all use the same
Meaning that it's gonna be to our iPad when we get something from Tracy, Ellen, Doug, anyone within the town goes to the iPad. I don't think that's a bad thing, guys.
Yeah.
Jamie, can
Gets
you
it out
speak
of
to
our
yours?
personal email.
Do you use it now?
Yeah, I use, because cable won't come out to my house. I actually have mine hooked into the cellular network, so it's how I often get my packet the first time. And I had Dropbox set up, which was, I thought, great, but doesn't work for everybody. And I think the town email, the whatever Damon Jesperson or Selectmen at Town of Newbury is also, like, I created an email specifically for town emails before I knew that I was going to have one given to me by the town, just to keep that separation so I don't delete anything in that account. I think it's very
Yeah.
useful. And, you know, having them hooked to the cellular network, if you have to go look at something like the
Take a picture.
diagrams that JR went to look at for those poles, it's useful to have the cellular network so you can say, oh, this is exactly where I'm standing. Here's the packet on the thing. I'm in the right spot. This is what I'm looking at. And so if you use
take a
it, it
picture
can be,
too.
yeah, you can take a picture. I think it's a very useful tool. And I've used mine a considerable amount. And, you know, I bought a keyboard for it so I can send out emails more easily and things like that because I know how to type, I guess.
Security reasons, it's, I think, advantageous too for, you know, if anything ever happened, we just hand that to whoever was mad at us. So,
You know, the important thing is, again, that if you're going to be using the town email, it's all secure, it's all maintained within the
We
town
really
server.
shouldn't be
it's
using
backed
personal
up.
email.
huh?
We really shouldn't be using personal
No,
email.
personal emails, and check, when you get used to that again, for emails, it's gonna be easy.
Certainly
Where
willing
I
to
got-
give it a try.
We'll
Where I got
carry
in
you
a
on,
little
Chuck.
trouble
Yeah.
was when everything also got lumped in there from emails from everyone else, and I was trying to answer other emails to other residents.
Yep.
That got a little edgy.
And the
So-
beauty of it will be, I mean, if something comes directly to you, Ellen is going to put it in that folder. If something needs to go to all of you, Ellen
Yep.
is going to put it in your folder. So it's all sorted, it's all given to the appropriate person.
I have
So you
one more
can-
question, and this might be a little advanced, and if it is, that's okay. So when we get the packet is placed in our folder or in the Dropbox,
What we're gonna do is
Email.
just stick with email.
Okay.
With attachments. So basically, you're getting everything sent to your personal email. Instead, what's going to happen is it's going to be sent to, say, alicia@townofnewbury.org. It's gonna go, and it's kind of like an alias, so to speak, and it's gonna go to the Board of Selectmen email, and Ellen's gonna put that in your folder.
each box.
Each folder.
So when I
Okay, for
open up,
each of you.
so when I open up the packet, right, and am I able to mark it up, like highlight here and make notes, or is?
It's going to be a PDF or Word document that you're looking at live. So if you also prefer a hard copy, and you're all on board with that, that's probably another requirement that you need to let Ellen know.
Well, I think a hard copy for a while,
Or you
as much
print
as you hate it.
yourself.
Yeah, but I didn't mean it that way, but I mean, extra work. At least for me, I need a hard copy.
Maybe initially,
Yeah.
you do both, and then over
Yeah.
time.
Is there a
fine.
program that's on these iPads now that will do that, like
Yeah.
a pro, that you can
Yep.
pull it up and you can
Yeah.
highlight and mark it? Okay.
Well, I mean, it's a Word or a PDF document, so if you wanna mark it up, then you probably need to send it in Word versus PDF, for example, so you can really mark it up.
Yeah,
Now,
You got that?
I got it.
Okay.
Or
I'm
Chuck,
with
you
you.
can print it off and
I'm
scribble
with
on
you,
it.
don't
Do I
worry.
use whiteout on the screen when I'm marking? I mean,
Just use your magic marker.
You know, the other thing I will mention in here is they're Wi-Fi, they are enabled for cellular connection. Not all of them have a subscription as a connection. The decision to do that was because for the most part, where people are, whether at home or if they go to a coffee shop or whatever, a lot of them have Wi-Fi for free. So the idea was not to spend any more money if we didn't need to. You may find over time that maybe that's not going to work for you, which is fine, and it's a budget line item. So it's a minimum of $30 a month to activate each of the iPads. And if it's shared data, and if it goes over, it it costs more per iPad.
Right.
So that's just something to keep in mind as well.
I put Wi-Fi in the house for this reason, for the iPad. I mean, it seems to get used for other things now. I don't think it was that expensive, but I can't give you a figure to put Wi-Fi
Put a
in my
wireless
house.
modem in? No, it shouldn't have
Huh?
been much.
No, I mean, I don't think it was $100, but I don't know. But I felt it was, worth doing, so.
Would the first, is this gonna be different than the version that we had on the iPad a while ago where there were the folders for our individual email addresses? Cause there was something set up previously where I could go into the selectman's email and I could see the overarching account and then the individual folders, and I could read Chuck's email if I wanted to.
Well, I mean,
Send on his behalf?
yes, you
Yeah.
can, but you could read every folder that's in there. You're the board of
Okay.
selectmen, right? So, yeah, you could. Do you really want to? Well,
No, I was just
sure,
confused
but,
about it.
We'll
when I first
organize
started.
it more neatly and more compactly, so when you enter, you're going to see your folders immediately.
Yep.
And again, you can create a new folder there from yourself, but we'll take a stab at creating some subfolders for you within that email. And so you can start organizing and sorting anything that you want to save.
That
and
was
go
my
back to.
problem, I could never find what I wanted to find.
Yeah. So,
I was okay finding that, but like Chuck, and just exactly what Damon was saying, I had a little trouble being able to separate my emails in my certain folders or whatever supposedly was there, and maybe try to answer that person that sent me the email. But,
Well, we'll get you all on board.
yeah, that might just be my problem.
Thank you.
And is there a way to import from the Gmail account I have currently for all the town emails, all the addresses, so all the people who've written me at that account, so I can then respond to them from the town
I
account?
would just send an auto reply probably and just say my new
Just
email
forward,
address is
okay.
such and
Yeah.
such is what I would do, so that we don't continue to get them.
Yeah, but you could download an app onto that for the Gmail and then just have it on that. So
I
you'll
could
have
also
two
forward
accounts.
them all to the new account. There's all sorts of things.
And I can set up
but-
the iPad to receive that. I think, do you already receive that email on your iPad as well?
Yes,
So, I mean, it's still there, so at least for a temporary period,
yeah.
transitional period, I just,
I
maybe.
just wasn't sure if there was an easy way to do it.
And then I would get rid of it, so that way it's not used.
Sounds good.
I
Thank you.
smile because television is certainly seeing folks that understand right now and two people that understand those, so, but hang in, guys, we'll get there, so, all
Thank
right.
you.
All right, so my
Thanks,
goal
Susan.
will be to get these all set up and ready for you, and hand them off to you. Hopefully, you'll have them for the next selectmen meeting, but I'd like to call you in each individually, and just kind of go through what the process is to access it and how you can use it. So I'll get in touch with you individually.
Thank you.
Just briefly, the second item, I know Damon, you had sent a comment with regard to the website that you were getting some feedback. Wasn't really quantifiable other than it's hard to
Yeah.
find the information I need, et cetera, which, we hear all the time. And basically, we know it's an older technology. We implemented this website architecture back in 2006. I actually took it upon myself in February to start seeking out new vendors
Yep.
as it relates to website technology for town halls. I'm in the process of evaluating all of their bids. I've gotten all demos, and I'll be selecting a vendor to implement new technology that'll be a lot more on the fly, will give us a lot more, it'll be fresher, it'll be more used to what you're seeing. We're also gonna integrate, I'm gonna create a Facebook page and a Twitter account, so we can integrate that into our website as well. So as we decide to post certain things, have it go out
Go
to
out in
those,
different
to that
formats.
social media as well, so people will hopefully get engaged and more involved with what's going on. So I think in the end, it will address
Some of those
some of
concerns.
the challenges people are having. And I just ask your patience while we work that out. My goal is to have that implemented sometime in the fall. It's not a small undertaking.
Yes.
No, I don't think so.
Well, one of the questions that I had when you said you were going to be speaking is if we want to try and create on the website, especially if we're doing a new one, discussion forums. We've all had lots of discussions about some of the items that are coming before the town, and I don't know if putting on the website a discussion board is something that would appeal to people, or?
It doesn't appeal to me.
Yeah.
I
Why?
wouldn't advise it.
You don't wanna
it
moderate that
just-
one?
It just, I mean, it opens, who's gonna moderate it?
Yeah.
Who's gonna look at every comment that goes up and make sure it's appropriate? And then feeds it out to somebody who maybe needs to address it. Somebody's, you know, it's a at least 8-hour, if not 24-hour, activity that needs to take place. And,
Mhm.
and how do you maintain that? How do you, keep the history, keep it clean, keep it usable, keep it as a tool for people? It's not
Yeah.
great. I think what new website will do for us is it will allow us to create certain areas of interest and say, you know, I want to report a pothole, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
And we can create that and have it go right out to the DPW director. So
Yeah.
he's notified right away, as an example. And those different categories can be created for each of the departments and accessed by somebody on the website very easily compared to how you can subscribe today
Yeah.
on doing notifications and getting engaged.
Speaking of the website, is it possible to have, I don't know how most committees and boards handle their minutes, but I know there's, the minutes really aren't current to each sitting and board, and I know it's a time thing, but I'd like to see if it's possible when we do make the switch to at least get everything in the past year current and up there. I don't know how possible that is. I have no idea how much man hours it is. I have no idea.
Right, I mean, that's really, that's a board-specific item too, so it's gonna have to be messaged to get out to the boards.
Yeah,
And
Okay.
committees and subcommittees and everybody else.
Right.
Who has a section on the website.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty much it. Okay. Because I heard that from other people too.
Susan, thank you. I think we're all willing to move forward. I think you're the one that's gonna need patience with us.
Okay?
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Susan. Kathy, are you here from the Beachcomber? Letter to the Board of Selectmen, the Plum Island Beachcomber would like to be able to offer brunch, if we so choose. The annual town meeting had approved the brunch provision law back on May 19th at town meeting, serving liquor on Sunday to 10 PM, I guess, to 12 PM.
10 a.m.
Huh?
a.m.
AM. But it would go from 10 to 12, right? And that's when it would have started anyway, so it would proceed the rest of the day. So that's kind of what I meant. Article 30, MGL Chapter 138, Section 38B, which gives the local license authority, that's us, the ability to authorize licenses to sell alcoholic beverages between the hours of 10 a.m. and 12 noon on Sundays past the annual town meeting on 5/19/15. That's what Kathy alluded to. So I think you're the first, I think. So, I mean, I'm ready for a motion, and then we can have discussion.
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Second?
Do we have discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So,
There you go.
that's good. You'll be the first. One-day liquor license, Newburyport Brewing Company, Saturday, June 27, 2015, from 10 a.m. to 9 o'clock p.m. It is the Byfield Music and Arts Festival at Manta Field, 81 Central Street, Byfield. Heidi, are you here for that? Yes, I am. Okay,
Should we do a motion for it?
yeah. Do you want to tell us anything?
Yes.
Okay.
On June 27th, we're proposing to have our second annual Byfield Music and Arts Festival for the benefit of the Byfield Arts Center. And we have 20 bands coming to perform on 3 stages during an 11-hour day. We have, at this moment, about 30 craft vendors that will be displaying their wares, and 6 artists who will be painting live paintings during performances. We also have 7 food vendors, and Newburyport Brewing Company and Ipswich Ale and Parker River Winery are all requesting one-day licenses to dispense beer and wine at the festival.
Where is Newburyport Brewing Company, in the industrial
It's in
park?
the industrial
That's what I
park.
thought, so.
New Pasture Road, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
They've just expanded their manufacturing capacity. They're doing really well.
Awesome, so, thank you, Heidi. I'd entertain a motion.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
None.
I only
It
see,
goes as well as last year.
Go ahead.
there's only two here. Ipswich Yale's gonna come at another date?
I think we've already had Ipswich here.
Oh, we already did that?
Last week.
We did that last week.
Okay.
Okay, hearing and having no discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Now, as Heidi had spoken, Parker River Winery at the same date to the same time for the Byfield Arts Festival at Manta Field.
Motion,
Motion?
motion to approve the license?
Is there a second? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
We also now have a one-day liquor license for Chive Events Wedding at Spencer Pierce Little Farm, Saturday, June 13th, 2015, from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. As I had looked at that, I thought it said everything's in order. So, as far as I'm concerned, I'd entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Any discussion?
None.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We also have a one-day liquor license for, is that Genevera? Ginevra. Hi, how are you? Good luck, by the way. Morse, the wedding planned for yourself and Brian, and it is August 7, 2015, 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. And we won't put you through discussing it unless you want to.
Where is it?
Okay, great. So, do I
That's
have?
Spencer Pierce again.
That's Spencer Pierce Little.
Okay.
Do I have a
to
motion? Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Wish you well.
One-day liquor license, Byfield Community Arts Center, Cat in the Cradle. This is like their normal things they do. So it would be June 13th, 2015, 7:30 PM to 10:30 PM.
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Another one-day liquor license, Byfield Community Arts Center. It's the antique auction, Wednesday, June 17th, 2015, 3 PM to 8 PM. Everything in order? I would entertain.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Any discussion? Is this the same one that you had before? By the way,
last
everyone should attend that, so. Any other discussions besides mine? All those in favor?
Aye.
Deputy John Lucy is here. Do you want to fill us in a little bit on this one? This is the request for the Meteor Inc. to Deputy John Lucy for public property use, filming on High Road. They're from Canada.
Yes, they are. It's a group that's similar to the United States version of Who Do You Think You Are? It's a Canada production, and I'm assuming that their subject somehow is affiliated to our beloved town, and so they're going to be coming down to do some filming.
Yep.
The area that they're going to be doing this is where the plaques are for the, down the Lower Green, and also on Cottage Road, right by the landing.
Okay.
there.
It
So-
does say that Roy Pike, president of the Pike Family Association, I guess.
Yeah.
So, interesting.
Yeah, so I've made inquiries about what kind of attendance is going to be, what kind of equipment, vehicles going to be involved. I don't see any concerns, public safety hindrances or anything like that, so.
Will you guys be blocking roads again,
Yeah.
or?
I don't think so. I think it's very, very small. It's a small troop. They're just going to be setting up a camera, tripod, maybe some lighting if they needed it, but it's going to be very non-intrusive, is what I'm told. So, but we'll monitor it.
Do I have a motion from the board?
Motion to approve?
Seconded.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John.
Vote for beginning the use of the new ImageCast precinct optical scan tabulators. Wow. The purchase of which was approved by the 5/19/5 annual town meeting and in this motion, it will automatically, I guess, discontinue using the old machines.
Motion to approve.
So, do I have a second?
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Um,
Appointments over.
516 appointments.
Any more?
Say it again?
High school committee, we have more appointments? All of them? Okay. Is that,
I don't know where they are.
is that another document? in here?
Is it, did you get new packet or old packet?
You got me.
Yeah.
Old or new?
All right,
Any clue?
ready? Read with me.
They're in there. They're in a,
Okay, they're their own.
slipped in.
Now, if there is quite a few here, and if I can, I will read them with some help pronouncing names, and if we decide to, any reason, want to hold to discuss one, why don't we do that? Otherwise, we'll appoint them all at once.
Yep.
Is that okay?
Makes sense to me.
Makes sense, Tracy?
I'm gonna sit out on the Ag Commission. I get a relative.
Okay. Board of Registrars would be Douglas Klunman. Election workers Heidi France, Susan Nagel. Agricultural Commission, William Colby, Eva Jackman, Matthew Kazaki. Borders to Boston Trail Committee, Steve Fram, Tim Chris, Martha Taylor, John Van Slowick, Christine Wilkinson. Capital Planning Committee, Frank Visconti. Conservation Commission, Ed Dearden, Dan Streeter. Planning Board member to the Conservation Commission, John O'Connell. Council on Nation, Jerry Dorr. Albert Goldthorpe, Joyce Macheros, Evelyn Noyce, Charles Rudick. Cultural Commission, Joanne Johnson. Amy, how's that pronounced, Ellen?
Swiniarski.
Swinarski. Finance Committee, Linda Allen, Eugene Case, Erica Jacobson, and Frank Remley. Graves, Registration Officer, Donald Jarvis. Assistant Harbor Master, Danny Brown, Gregory Downs. Anthony Papulius, Harbor Master Helper, Matthew Valonis, Joshua Brown, Zachary Vatcher. Historical Commission, Lou Hockmeister, Eva Jackman, Nancy Thurlow. Media Committee, Mario Canavelli, Paul Dobbitts, Richard Herrickson, Alicia Greco, Board of Selectmen member to the Media Committee. Municipal Building Committee, Tracy Blaze, Michael Doyle, Steve Fram, Sam Jocelyn, John Lucy, Richard Rounder, Martha Taylor, Eric Swan. Newbury Commission to the Merrimack Valley Planning Commission, John Weiss, alternate Martha Taylor. Open Space Committee member, Michael Carbone, Dan Streeter, Martha Taylor. Recreational Committee, Richard Capilupo, John, Marco
Marcolini.
Collini,
Marcolini.
Diane Manter, Warren Manter, Joseph Story, Rebecca Tarkeesian, David Taylor, William Went. Zoning Board of Appeals, Howie Tracer, alternate Amy Baker. Police Department, James Bedard, Robert Bishop, Charles Colby Jr., Jason Ducuna, Reverend Robert
Hagopian.
I can never say that. Daniel Jenkins, William LeBon, John Lucy III, Michael Willott, and Christine Papalo. Papalo.
Mr. Chairman, motion to approve all.
A second.
Do we have a second? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sorry, I should have said something. Are we gonna approve someone to the master plan committee? I didn't see on there.
Well, we usually do other appointments at
Other
other
appointments, okay.
times, yeah.
All right, let's go. We've just gotten some emails of interest, and so I think the planning board is gonna talk about it, and then that will come to you all.
Okay.
Chuck, you had a discussion for municipal parking on Green Street. Do you still want to have a go at that?
Just a quick discussion. Since we put the trailers in, we're losing parking spaces like crazy. We have Green Street, which is right across the street. It's a dead end. I was thinking we also own the green, and we could have a little area right there to put 5 to 7 cars there across the street. That would help eliminate a lot of the parking that is congested in here. I had a discussion with Larry Glazebrook, who is the head of District 4, which encompasses the state road. He was gonna come today and take a look to see if he could, in fact, put a crosswalk right there to make life a little easier for the people to walk across the street. So I just wanted to see what people's ideas were. I have a quick little
Would you,
map
would you
here.
get a crosswalk with a light?
Not a light, no. Just a simple little
Just a paint.
crosswalk, kinda like what's at the bank, right up here.
And that would cross from the green to
Yeah,
Town Hall,
across,
or?
yeah, from the green over to this, and we have, handicapped accessible is a big deal with the state. And we have a brand-new sidewalk that is all handicapped accessible right there. And, just a crazy idea, because we need
Need some
parking
more parking.
desperately.
Yeah.
And it is a dead-end road. I don't think it would bother anything or anybody. I'm sure it's gonna bother somebody.
Yes.
But we really need the parking space. And, 5 to 7, whatever we could put over there would,
Would this be temporary or permanent,
yeah,
you think?
definitely temporary until we get
Situated
moving,
here.
so, exactly. Thank you for mentioning that.
I wonder what it would take to get a pedestrian light that when you pushed it, it flashed yellow like they have in other municipalities and schools, because in case we haven't figured it out, and I don't wanna say this, cause John will say that he's enforcing that and no one ever does that, but it can get fast here and it can get confusing here,
Yeah, it's
especially if a couple of kids and a parent were crossing that road to come to Town Hall. So, I think
Well-
Chuck's got a really good idea, I just
My
think that we
idea
should
of it
push.
wasn't for the residents to park over there, but the town workers to park over there and leave these spaces open here for people to park. That was my thought.
I like that idea better.
Well, I mean, even that leaves at least, I mean, it could leave people running in some respects. I mean, I think the idea has merit, but I don't know why we can't push for a light. Did he say it was impossible?
It's not impossible, it's just expensive.
I think it might take an act of Congress.
I wouldn't doubt that.
Well, I mean, that's what our senators and reps are for, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
actually agree with you that it's a dangerous intersection. I remember when I was holding signs out there before election, I saw many near accidents and one accident happen. So because we have the Hanover Street coming in, 3 exits right here, 1 from a street and 2 from a parking lot, I think people do get distracted. So anything we can do to make it safe,
Well, by the
Just
time we
great.
get the state senate to approve that, we'll have the building built.
That's my
So,
concern. But I mean, if they have, if it's only gonna be temporary, why do we need a light?
Steve?
Steve Fram, 21 Forest Street. We got this beautiful little trailer out here. There's no reason that couldn't be set up out there daily, flashing and putting up a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit or whatever. Isn't that what this trailer is that's right on here?
a speed trailer.
Isn't that what it
Yeah.
is? I mean, yeah. I mean, in lieu of a $20,000 or $30,000 light, let's use the trailer we already own.
John, do you have designs on that trailer and where it's gonna be put?
Excuse me?
So do you have designs on where that trailer's going?
Well, it's a $12,000 item that was purchased for portability and for deployment in areas of concern.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I just don't know if you want to have it situated in one place all the time. I mean, it does.
It's gonna be Hate Green in Boston next.
Okay.
I mean, I think
Whatever you
Chuck,
guys want to do with it.
I think Chuck has, obviously been thinking out of the box. I just everyone was not that pleased with me when I was a little afraid of parking for the rail trail at the top of the railroad tracks, remember, Martha? Because it would be kids trying to pop out of a car, or taking a leashed dog and he pops out and people are coming over the hill. It frightened me there. Maybe it's just me. But, I mean, if the board thinks that has merit, Alicia, you seem to think it might be a good idea. I mean, we can certainly vote on it and, or table it for another discussion. We can, I mean, Chuck had some really good thinking there, just because I'm afraid someone could get a hit doesn't mean anything if the board thinks it's a good idea.
Oh, so that like the street with the homes are.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
the fire company has also
offered the town employees to park over there, and once we have the sewer project, the construction has
Okay.
begun there.
And I think depending on how much that costs at a certain point, if it's gonna be 2 years, maybe we ought to try to move that again.
Do we have to pay that?
Is it gonna be 15 grand or another 5 to move that?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Part of
so
it's
anyway.
paved, just part of it's paved, the rest is just,
Well,
they keep digging it up for
I guess-
utilities.
why don't we, Chuck, do you wanna make a motion so we can either decide
I
to
brought it
table
up for
or-
discussion tonight.
Okay.
On new business.
To give us
so
to
that-
think about.
Right, give
Good.
you time to think about it, take a look at it, see what the heck. It's just one of the options, the fire department is the other option.
Yeah.
And who knows what's gonna happen through the summer if we get the sewer thing in. Maybe all of that septic system will go away and we can park there.
You know what? That's true, because that'll be flat, right?
I don't know that.
It most probably will.
Yeah, that's, I'm hoping.
We're not, we haven't worked in removal of that.
Yep.
So I can't
Um,
answer that question.
I mean, it shows you now what we're starting to head into for making everything fit, making everything work, and make everything safe. But I mean, Chuck had a point that maybe it's not beyond belief anyway. We have the green there. It's used by a lot of different things. I see people trying to cross the street there a lot anyway. I mean, I don't know what it takes for a crosswalk light, but maybe it's something to think about down the road. So, I mean, even if it isn't for what we're doing this time, because of the fact that they
Well,
might
let's
utilize the fire
Kick
station.
it around till next meeting.
Yep.
And everybody take a look at it and then bring your ideas back.
Well, I mean, one of the other things that we could do is, I don't know if we currently do, is have spots that are reserved for people doing town business as opposed to people who are working in town hall.
Yeah.
So we always keep a number of spots or do a 15-minute spot, or nothing takes 15 minutes here, a half an hour spot. Just to, so we try to keep some spots open for people as well.
I mean, what's gonna happen is, when it's raining and pouring, and people from town hall have to walk, or it's a snowstorm and the drifts are out on Route 1, and we're gonna have to keep them clean, or Martha's gonna be climbing up over the snow drifts to come to work. I mean, this isn't a workable condition. Although maybe the fire station will make it more workable. You know, we're up against it.
I have a question, Chuck.
Eric, you're here tonight. What, go ahead, excuse me, sorry.
Just this thing, is there any cost to doing this? Your idea?
Minimal. We could have our highway guys do that. Yep.
Okay.
Eric, are you here just to watch tonight, or do you have a mission?
Is there a pending vote for
Good, then, yes, there is, it's in the agenda.
maybe a 14-year sign for the current trailer if it's gonna stay there?
I think that was a good idea, and we'll definitely think about it then.
Okay.
Whole business. Acceptance of Borrego Solar Systems, Inc. We had a little problem last
I'm gonna
week.
recuse myself.
I was just gonna say, we might have some folks that have to recuse themselves again. Chuck is here tonight, and I'm glad Damon is, coming in from New Jersey. So, we have to make, I do not have that same letter, do we?
It was in last month's.
That's what I meant. So, the letter was to withdraw their project without prejudice. So, I think, we've seen it before, and Chuck, you had seen it when you had taken
Yes.
that home, we could take a motion from someone and second it and decide what we're gonna do.
Motion to accept the letter.
Second.
And any discussion?
Done.
Go ahead, excuse me.
Would we decide, if we decided we wanted to prejudice it, how would we go about that? And what would that mean for them? Just out of curiosity, because it's without prejudice right now, which means they can resubmit without any penalties. They are kind of jerking our chains around a little bit here. If we wanted to prejudice it, what would that mean?
I think without prejudice is for them, not us.
Well, yeah, it gives them the ability to resubmit on even footing.
Yeah. So,
So I just wanted to know what our options were. I'm not proposing that we do it, I just wanted to know what it entailed.
How'd you come up with that one?
I hadn't put any thought to it at
No,
all.
me either.
So,
Yep. I mean, the idea, I think, is they have to resubmit a whole new proposal from scratch. They're in
They have to
I mean,
resubmit
Martha,
it
correct me,
like
they're
they
in
did the same.
Concom now, they can continue that symbiotically, but they have to submit a whole new proposal, right?
They do. They need to submit a whole new application. They are planning to submit to the planning board on June 17th. And I spoke with Steve today. I guess they've made some revisions to the plans based on their discussions with the Concom, and that's what's going to be submitted.
So, I mean, that gives them
Yeah.
some agita. So,
yeah,
All right.
it was just a curiosity. I'm ready to vote now.
well, I'll tell you what, it's a question for another time, too, to find out how we could maybe put some emphasis on things when stuff like this comes our way. I never really thought of it. Did we have a second?
I did second.
And we had discussion,
Yeah.
so we're ready to vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Someone can, John, can you holler at the folks to come back in, please? Thanks, John. Okay, that being said, this is now the discussion and vote for reorganization of the Board of Selectmen. As I understand it, that will be voting for a chair, a vice chair, and a clerk? Is that right? So, why don't we take the chair of the Board of Selectmen first, and I'd entertain a motion for discussion?
Well, I'll tell you what. May I make a motion? Okay, motion to keep the board as it was.
Second.
Any discussion?
How was it?
I wondered if you
Jeff as chair, myself as vice
Vice
chair,
chair.
Damon as clerk.
Clerk. See, you missed your opportunity.
That's okay.
I know Damon doesn't want to relinquish the clerk title.
I would be willing to give it to either of the newbies, although I'm gonna sign my hand to cripple them tonight. But,
You can decline the nomination.
no, I'm okay keeping it. I know you.
Okay.
I live in town, I work a lot in town, I'm flexible, so I can come in and sign things when necessary, so it's either me or you. Since we have the most ability to run away from work and come here.
Right.
Yeah, I don't have that luxury.
So, that would be discussion,
It's your turn.
so I would entertain a motion.
We had the
I said it was.
Oh, I mean, I would entertain a vote. All those in favor? Discussion and vote for setting the date, which Eric is here, for the special ballot election of September 15th, 2015. And the September 15th, I imagine, is subjective, and we had discussion about that Tuesday? Now, so there is no mistake for the motion. Is that September 8th? Is that a Tuesday?
September 8th, what do you want that for?
September 15th. is the
15th,
Tuesday.
okay, then that,
Yes.
oh, it is gonna be September 15th.
That's what you had
That's
talked
a,
about.
but that's a Tuesday?
Mhm.
Okay, good. I thought we were backing it
No.
up.
Is that before this annual, the fall town meeting or after? When is the?
That's before.
Okay.
Do
For
we
some
have to
reason, I
have
had the
town
8th. Is
meeting?
the,
Probably don't have to.
is September 8th?
We
A
talked about
Tuesday
that
too?
last time.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
All right, why don't we make a motion, we'll discuss it, and either one is gonna be fine.
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Well, I like that idea because it's after Labor Day.
We're gonna have, is there, wait a minute, Eric, is there any other discussion from the board?
The only other, I think it is the best day. I had the concern that things will fizzle during the summer, but I think with Mark's pack and his effort, we should give it as much time as possible for him to reach out to people and contact people and do that. So I think the latest possible date, which this is, after the return to school, after people's sort of summer holidays is done, gives us our best chance to reach as many citizens as possible. So
During the summer.
during the summer, and not have people away in the last gasps of summer.
So the September 15th is within all time periods, the stated 90 days, is it?
90 days, no, or 90 days if it's a special town
election.
meeting, until September 15th if it's an
The
annual.
15th's the latest we could
That's the
have it.
latest day, that's
So
the last day.
When's this, the fall town meeting?
The date hasn't been set, but it's usually third Tuesday in October.
Okay.
The date, it has not been voted,
So it would then be
but it's not voted.
helpful if there are, what Pat's gonna do, the ballot, question committee, is whatever it's called. But the municipal building committee and the board of selectmen should make every effort to hold several joint meetings or whatever meetings are possible to allow the public time to come in and hear what everything has to say, so that people just aren't heading to the ballot box and blindly just checking boxes because they're not quite
Yep.
sure what that question is. So, okay.
All right,
So when did you want to work, Eric? Did you have any idea on when you wanted to
Just kind of
do
try to figure out the
meetings?
date and then work back from that, and the municipal building committee will, in our next meeting, set a schedule from now until then, and try to figure out how to plan for what's gonna happen.
in the last meeting, we were, kind of discussed really doing almost like Erica did with the finance committee for town meeting. We were gonna do something such as that where selectmen had a real opportunity to interface with all the people that wanted to come and discuss the project. So, and it seems to me that's all legal, and that's something we're gonna definitely do within that time frame. Before Steve speaks, why did this gentleman, or why did we have some kind of consensus, and I don't care, because it's one week later is more time, why was September 8th a good date? Or was it just because school was getting, the school start, what was it?
think
Why did
s-
September 8th come up?
It's
I don't wanna
right
miss
after the
something.
holiday.
Right after Labor Day.
Yeah.
All right, so it doesn't matter, we're not missing anything. Okay,
Just trying to make sure we were within the allotted.
yeah, absolutely, what we're supposed to do. Stephen?
Just a question. What happens in the event of a natural disaster, hurricane, September 8th? Does the clock stop on the 90 days, or are we done?
No. There's no 90 days, we have until September 15th.
Steve has actually,
That's the,
Steve has a good point.
That's
Does it have to
hurricane
be? Does
season.
it have to be on a Tuesday that we have a vote?
that's what you've historically
I
done.
mean, what
in the
Steve's
town of
basically
Newbury.
saying to you, if we really have, because of the time frames, and you can have that in September,
Mhm.
let's say we get a hurricane. If we did it the week of the 8th, we could reschedule for the week of the 15th.
No, because you need to print ballots and
Okay,
the
then.
town clerk needs,
Right.
I think she said at least 15 days to
Right,
call a
so it
special.
is
So I guess my question is, if we have a natural disaster on September 15th, we're cooked.
Well, we'll see who makes it here, I guess.
The really committed voters will get out and vote.
But
They're
not
not
only
old
that,
enough to remember Hurricane Carol.
I am actually.
We're gonna lose the trailers anyway.
All right, I just wanted to know, because I
If-
think we're rolling the dice.
but
Thank
if
you.
the,
I
if
think it would
the,
have been a good discussion if we could have actually interchanged the dates, maybe doing it earlier in case something, but we can't really react that quick. Yeah.
no, but I think if it's a true natural disaster and the governor calls a state of emergency, I think it will they'll push everything ahead. If you can't get on the roads, the dates would all be messed up, but
If that's what I'm asking. If our 90 days is up, is our 90 days up?
Our 90 days is up and we'd have to call another special town meeting and another ballot election. So you'd have to
And that'll only
start
take
over.
another year, right?
No.
Yeah.
because we're having a
You
special
could
town
do it
meeting in
at the
October.
town meeting in October, call a subsequent ballot election.
Thanks, Steve.
Right.
Something to think about, though.
Yeah, if it gets canceled, we can call a ballot election before the
Okay.
annual town meeting. So,
All right, we'll kick that around. Motion on the floor, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chuck, so I didn't lose my way. So, end of discussion, any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Before I go on to the next bullet, I would like to pop back up to the discussion for the vote for reorganization. I'd like to thank my board. I'd like to thank Chuck for making the motion to keep me as chair, and I would also like to have everyone realize that this is a young, fresh board. There's a lot of talent. Chuck has had great, Chuck has great wisdom, has wanted to participate as chair for a long time too, so next year, I would like to make sure that I will be either clerk or vice chair. So that gives everyone notice that they should be working towards, learning as much as they can, not that I have learned that much. All right?
Is that rain?
Well, thank you for the time you put in. I think you do a great job.
All right. We have, this got, Martha, did you find anything? All right, let me say this first. So, execution of the revised release deeds pertaining to the conveyance of land from the B&M Railroad, is it B&M Railroad?
Yep.
To the town of Newbury and the city of Newburyport jointly, which land will be managed by the city of Newburyport for the Clipper City Rail Trail as voted on the Newbury Town Meeting, Article 20th, May 2006. Martha's been on the committee for a while. I was on the committee. I don't know if I'm still on the committee to do with some of the rail trails. What we discussed a long time ago was for motions to be made by public officials to have total understanding sometimes of what they're making a motion about. So I did ask Martha if she had some of the language that sanctioned or actually was pertaining to the conveyance of land. My concern might be where it's managed by the city of Newburyport taking kind of the lead, as I read it earlier, and maybe Newbury. Would there be large expenses down the road for Newbury? Because it doesn't seem like we have a tremendous amount of money. And Martha, I know, will talk about the fact that in the early days, when we had expenses, weren't they gonna be picked up by volunteer groups and people working towards paying for the maintenance of the trails?
Well, I'll actually go back a little bit farther
Okay,
than
good,
that, if I
good,
can.
sounds
Just-
good to me.
yeah,
Because our
just-
board probably has no
Yep,
idea.
just as a refresher, this is talking about phase 2 of the Clipper City Rail Trail. The first phase is the one that goes from the train station down to the waterfront. And this one will loop along the waterfront and then comes back up through Marches Hill and ends at Parker Street. There will be a phase 3 at some point going from Parker Street back to the train station to complete the loop. Phase 2 has been in the planning for quite some time, a number of years, and it started, there was a town meeting vote on May 23rd of 2006 to acquire land jointly, to go to the city of Newburyport and the town of Newbury in the area of Parker Street, 3 parcels, specifically for the rail trail, the Clipper City Rail Trail. That vote was taken, and then deeds were executed, but there was an error made, and the deeds that were executed granted the land only to the town of Newbury. It should have been both to Newbury and Newburyport. And that deed was recorded at the registry in 2006, in June of 2006. Since then, we've executed a memorandum of agreement with the city of Newburyport that was done on the 28th of December, 2011, which, basically talks about, the 2 towns working together on this. Our portion of the trail is only 450 feet. going from Parker Street to the Newburyport municipal boundary. So we're not looking at a lot of real estate here. And, realistically, there's not going to be much to take care of at that location. The issue right now, as Ginny, our town council, wrote a memo basically saying that the original deeds were done in error. This is basically to clean that up. It's a release deed to grant half of the town's interest to Newburyport, which is what should have been done initially. The Clipper City Rail Trail is going through the process. They've received approval from the Newburyport Conservation Commission. They've been before our Conservation Commission, who voted at their last meeting to approve it. There were some issues with stormwater management that were resolved at a meeting out on the site. I talked to Susan tonight. I'm not sure that the order of conditions has been written yet, but it will be. So our Concom has approved it. It wasn't necessary for it to come to the planning board for site plan review. There wasn't enough disturbance. So, basically it is in process, and this is just kind of cleaning up an error that was made back in 2006.
So except for that piece of land that's in Newbury, we're pretty much not gonna be, worried about anything else that goes on the Newburyport side. That's good. Now, it's 3 separate deeds that are being transferred?
It's one deed, it's one deed, and there is a parcel, there's a description of the land in your packet. It's 3 separate parcels that were conveyed, and the description covers those 3 parcels, but it's
All right,
one
so
deed.
when we make a motion, it's not gonna be revised, released deeds, it's gonna be one deed pertaining to the rail trail in the motion.
That's my
All
understanding.
right, so I'm ready for a motion, guys.
Motion to execute the revised deeds, or deed, releasing part of the property, half of the property, of our interest in the property for the B&M Clipper City Rail Trail.
I will second the motion.
Any discussion?
Yes. We had discussed a long time ago about what happens when we accept that land and something untoward happens, a flood, some catastrophic event, something underneath there that B&M Railroad buried 150, 200 years ago rears its ugly head. Are we responsible for that? That's my only concern.
And what Chuck probably gathers some of his fear from was he's been around long enough to know when some of the flapper gates in Salisbury were a problem, and that befell the town to, although they were sharp enough to get a grant, they had to really fix that on the Salisbury Rail Trail. So,
What was that from the Salisbury Rail Trail?
I'm sorry.
when Salisbury accepted their rail trail, they ran into trouble on some of the places that exchanged the water from each side.
Oh.
And so they had to repair them, and it got pretty costly.
Okay.
But they got a grant, I think.
Yeah, I think they did get a grant for that. And again, we're looking at 450 feet here, which is,
Well, I agree, but at some point, phase 3, 4, 5 is gonna come in, and we're gonna go through the town, hopefully hook in a Haverhill. So I'm trying to do a little forward thinking here. That's all. I'm not trying to muddy the waters any further on you, I'm sorry, but I mean, I'd be shirking my duties if I wasn't thinking of the town. So, I don't know.
We've already, this was started before I got here, but my
Right, I mean, this
understanding
is-
was the approvals are already in
It's
place.
been
Town
voted by
meeting's
town
already
meeting.
voted it,
Yeah.
we've
Yep.
already.
So-
We actually have more of the land than we want right now, so we're actually reducing our liability
Right.
by accepting this, as I understand what you said.
Basically.
All right.
And I
It
think
was
Chuck,
listed.
though, I can't take anything away from Chuck's concern as we go forward. These rail trails have become extremely popular. They're extremely popular from Cape Cod to Maine. As some people have different visions for the rail trails, which could include plowing, paving, lights, a lot of different things that people might think. I'm
Good
sure we're
night.
not gonna do that. But, they're talking maybe of having, the ability to have the rail trail go over the bridge, the old railroad bridge or something. So there's a lot of things, and there's a lot of is it gas tax money that goes towards the rail trails, Martha?
The federal funding to pay for construction, that's my understanding.
Right,
is
and it
that's what it's
goes
coming
through the
from.
tip of Merrimack Valley and all that stuff, so.
Right.
There is money to do these things, but sometimes it filters back down to the responsibility of the town. So Chuck is actually mirroring some of my thoughts. We're probably okay on this one, but we're lucky enough to have a town planner that's worked pretty hard on this, and now we're all aware of this as we go forward and accept some of the other land for the other parts of the rail trail, so.
All right.
All right. All those in favor?
All right.
Excuse me? Did we get a second?
Sure. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, this was the one that Ginny handled, right? Tracy, execution of the release deeds, releasing the easements over 58 Northern Boulevard and over 60 Northern Boulevard, the Novak properties.
Yes.
Did
it
we
was
already
just
discuss this
that
once?
We discussed
Yep.
it, and it was approved at town meeting.
So we just have to make a vote to execute the deeds.
Yep.
I would entertain that motion.
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I might have a little trouble finding some of this in my, I might go back to my other, nope, there it is, good, it's all in line. Merrimack Valley Annual Report is just the annual report. It's now digital, as I read it, and it's for anyone that wants to. It's on our website, meaning the website of mvpc.org, and they can look at their annual report and see what's going on. And I have to say, you know, Merrimack Valley does a lot of things. Merrimack Valley at sometimes has been criticized for not doing more things, but as your chair, all the work I do on the marsh right now is housed through Merrimack Valley Planning, so I would give them high marks. So I wanted people to realize they're doing a lot more than just worrying about bridges, roads, and what else do they do, Martha?
Well, they're doing a tremendous amount for us in terms of my map and assessors maps and our data and all of that. The other thing that they're really being very proactive on, and John O'Connell has commented on what a great job they're doing, is the stormwater, the NIPD's MS4. They've gotten a grant for the Stormwater Collaborative, and they've been great in holding meetings, holding training sessions for DPW people, and really trying to help the towns get out ahead of what could be a very burdensome requirement. So they're doing a lot with that. They've also been instrumental in updating our regional hazard mitigation plan and getting that through FEMA and MEMA. So they're a tremendous asset. They really are.
Next on the agenda is a little different. It surprised me, maybe I knew somewhere in the back of my mind that it existed, but the Northeast Homeland Security Regional Advisory Council, NORAD, it's their newsletter, and they have caches, and I didn't know they existed. Do you guys get a chance to read some of this?
Yep.
I mean, they have quite a bit of equipment. And as I started to look through this during times of emergency, see if I can find, municipalities borrow shelter trailers, sandbags, light towers, generators during storms to care for their citizens, protect their infrastructure. Additionally, hospitals in the region borrowed approximately 100 cots for staff members unable to travel. So, I mean, John, that's pretty good stuff, right?
Yep.
So, I was kind of interested to read that. They have surgical trauma kits and some big equipment, some very good-sized generators. So, we also, next on the correspondence, we have already gotten the email and executed the
School committee.
Bruce Tarr has sent us an email, and the email is announcing the regional dredging meeting on June 19th. It is going to be held, I believe, in Ipswich. Let me see if I can find it. Here it is. It attaches a memo from Senator Tyra announcing that there will be a regional dredging meeting on June 19th at 10:30 a.m. at the Ipswich Selectmen's Meeting Room located inside Town Hall. It is from Cynthia, and I guess to the coast, on the next page is memorandum. Over the past years, dredging our waterways and dune and beach nourishment have become major challenges for committees from Cape Ann to New Hampshire. Accordingly, we have organized a meeting to discuss a regional approach to achieving what has been elusive on an individual project basis. This meeting will include presentations on relevant factors, information to dredging projects, including federal RADA legislative update from Congressman Moulton's office, Peter Fippen from MBBC, Greg Moore from UNH will provide an update on the progress on projects they are overseeing relative to marshes due to allocation of money. Doug Packer will provide an update of the MRBA, and that's probably with the erosion committee. So
That's a Friday, in case you're interested.
one thing that we should analyze is Bruce Tarr has been indefatigable on this. He has not only worked with the MRBA, he has worked on a broader basis trying to bring in this regional concept of dredging, not only as much as dredging and putting sand on the beaches, but eventually there might be some dredge projects which allow sand to be put up on the high marsh platform so the marsh can grow to keep up with sea level rise. So Bruce has done a tremendous amount of work. It's not only the politician in him, but also, I think, the lawyer, and he's looking forward to try to cement coalitions and be able to put in place the ability to move forward when some of these things occur. I don't think anyone can refute the fact that if we didn't have the nourishment on Plum Island when we received the nourishment on Plum Island, it would be different now.
So is this
So-
something that one of us needs to go to?
I mean, I'm gonna end up there most likely anyway.
Yeah, I'm thinking of going
I think
myself,
as many can go as possible, would be great, so. Hello, Board of Selectmen. This is from North Shore Pride. I'm very happy to invite you to the first annual North Shore Pride Lunch and Learn panel discussion to be held on June 15, 2015. I'm gonna skip to the next page because it gives a little more insight as to what it really is. It's gonna be at 286 Cabot Street, Beverly, free and open to public. It's gonna be, how can we make our cities and towns more welcoming for the LGBT people? North Shore Pride invites you to a complimentary lunch and a discussion led by a panel of leaders who have professional and personal experience in the development of municipal, legal, social, and educational components necessary to establish your city or town as a welcoming community for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people. So this meeting will be as posted. Anyone that would like to attend, I think that would be enlightening. Mass Fiscal Aug. I think Rick Green has talked to us before, hasn't he? Eleanor Tracy, hasn't? So he speaks about a couple of different initiatives that were two amendments that came before the Senate. The first one was number 99, sought to guarantee that 15% of the taxes taken in our state above the benchmark revenue figures be returned to our states, cities, and towns in the form of unrestricted general aid. The second one is proposed amendment number 100, aim to provide more in local educational aid by doubling, Alicia, the minimum foundation increment from an extra $25 a pupil to an extra $50 a pupil for the FY16 budget. This would allot an extra $19 million to the school districts across the Commonwealth. However, this too was defeated. So this is public record, and people certainly can read it. This is also this is from Essex Heritage, and it's to help restore the Baker Lighthouse. It is a Kickstarter program, and for folks that kind of don't know what Kickstarter is the ability, it's grassroots fundraising. It's where we first got our first money for some of the work we did on the marsh. I looked at Baker's Lighthouse, and at first I'm seeing it up somewhere in Maine, but I guess it's really at Salem Harbor. So it's certainly in our area, and it seems like Annie Harris has sent us this. It's pretty important to all the people, and it's a great asset. And so if you would like to go and pledge your support on Kickstarter, I believe it's kickstarter.com, and you can pledge money to help repair the Baker Island Lighthouse. We also have a invitation from the Massachusetts Municipal Association of Regional Meeting in Northampton on June 18th. You are invited to a Massachusetts Selectmen's Associated Regional Meeting in Northampton on June 18th from 5:45 PM to 7:30 PM. It is a dinner meeting, and it will feature a presentation by Senate President Stanley Rosenberg, as well as a legislative update from Legislative Director John Robinson. The meeting will be held at Blue Bonnet Diner in Northampton. If anyone would like to go to that, that would be something that would probably be pretty enlightening. So, we also have the Byfield, was this new?
That just came in.
Yeah, okay. We also have the Byfield Community Arts Center newsletter. Good. Wow. The Byfield Community Arts has kind of given us a tremendous idea of what they're doing, so let me see if I can highlight it pretty quickly. The much-awaited Mardi Gras celebration comes to the Byfield Community Arts Center on June 13th with the Squeeze Box Stompers, who will be returning for a night of fun, good music, and a promise of no snow. I guess there was snow when they were there last. Concord Hill Auctions returns on the 17th, and that is a good auction, because I have been. Come raise your paddle and win a special item. On June 19th, it's the Classic Carnival, that's good. Byfield Arts and Music Festival on June 27th. There is a website under that name that you can get tickets at. They would welcome volunteers to help in any way, especially for the 215 Byfield Music and Arts Festival. And you can contact info at byfieldcac.org, and this is all public record in the Selectman's office if you would like to volunteer to help for that event. Also, you can donate to the Byfield Performing Arts Center, and there's probably a mechanism, so certainly that's all with Ellen. Review of meeting minutes. So, April 28th.
Motion to approve the April 28th.
I'm gonna abstain because I wasn't here.
Yep.
Seconded.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
May 26th.
Damon, make the motion.
Motion to approve, as written.
I haven't got there yet.
Waiting for a second.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain from the vote.
Yep. So, do we have warrants?
Yes.
Do we have a lot of warrants?
Yes. We have warrants, and we also have year-end transfers, that, two of which have already been approved by the finance
Can I have a
committee,
meeting
and
update?
the third one will
Did
go
you,
before
did
them
you,
at their next
did you
meeting.
bring cookies?
Did I bring cookies?
Is this gonna take a long time?
No.
Do we need a motion to sign the warrants? Motion to sign the warrants?
So moved.
Yep. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I think we skipped the second.
Yeah.
Huh?
I second it.
We knew that. Now, we do have a meeting update.
Last week, there was a meeting, was it last week?
Last week?
Yep. It's been a long week. Last week, we had a meeting with a solar company. Chuck was in
Oh, yeah.
attendance, as well as Tracy and a number, Martha, Richard Mars. And it's a company that essentially is a management company. And they do two types of management. One is to manage power usage, fuel usage, things like that, and the other is to shepherd solar projects. And so they would possibly be a company that would put together a request for proposals for projects such as putting solar panels on the town landfill or any other locations that were identified in town that could be acceptable, viable spots that could generate revenue for the town. So I wanted to bring this up and see if we wanted to authorize Tracy to select a company to put out an RFP so that we could move forward from just discussing the possibility of generating revenue to actually getting to a place where we could make a decision on how to do that. This company seemed good. I don't know if there are others that you've looked at or contacted.
We have met with, over the last year, we've met with a couple other providers, and there was a fourth company that we have yet to meet with, Blue
Wave.
Blue Wave.
And they would put in a proposal. They're not a management
They're
company.
not a management, okay.
When you say a couple of years ago, I can remember one coming in quite a long time ago, right? Wanting to do this. I mean, you folks were there and you heard, so I'm deflecting.
I was very impressed with their
Yeah.
presentation, and I'd be happy to work with Sam to put together the information that they would need if the board would like us to move
What's the
forward.
name of this outfit?
Knew you were gonna ask that. Sam took my folder and I don't. Oh, wait a minute.
I'd like to make a motion that that company,
Power management company or something, but they do put together an RFP for the town, there's no charge to the town.
Right.
So the other ones that we have spoken with are all people who would be providers, so they might be the ones who would be answering the RFP.
That's true.
Proposals.
You're right. You're right. I hadn't focused in on that. You're right. One of the other discussions was that they were very, very concerned with the extreme slope on the side of the landfill and whether they could actually utilize that to put panels on or not. And my point is, there's 27 acres out there to put panels on. So I mean, we don't have to go on the side of the,
Yep.
my biggest concern was, of course, the permeable barrier on the top. We can't play with that in any sort of formal way. They were very, very aware of that and have done others, so I was impressed with
I
them.
wonder how they fasten them.
They basically, this big long cable wide, two of them go right up and over the dump, they're counterweighted down and everything attaches to them. So, and as I say, there's extra land there that they could be using also that's not landfill.
Yep.
So as I say, it
In
is a
town
27 acre site, so.
But yeah, my interest in bringing it up was just to see if the other selectmen are on board for trying to find spots, getting proposals that we can then.
So you're just looking for a motion to continue to explore?
Well, yeah, to have, I think, Tracy start negotiations with this
Yeah.
company.
Power management. PMESC.
So I would entertain a motion.
Motion to authorize Tracy to begin negotiations with Power Management to put out an RFP for solar in the town.
Second the motion?
Any discussion? Me, I'm just
Well-
I'm curious to see how they handle wind.
They don't.
They don't.
I'm also
This is
interested in
solar.
looking at that, so.
Oh, no, I don't mean wind turbines.
Oh.
Wind,
Oh.
wind when you get 100-mile-an-hour wind across the dump. So that'd be curious to see that'd be a question to ask.
Yeah.
So,
So is this, I have a question, this is all pending, site plan review or special permitting with the,
Well, what this would be is actually just getting companies who are interested in building on the land that the town has and possibly leasing that land from the town to do an installation. And then it would have to go through all the other things that everything else has to go through. But it's looking at how can we take some of the town property and generate some new revenue. And this is just one of the things that I've been trying to pursue. So we'd get companies who, you know, Borrego could even put in a bid.
Sure.
They probably wouldn't go very far.
Basically, we, the selectmen, are in charge of all town properties. We allowing that company to go onto our property and evaluate it for solar. So,
In the old days, there was some way for the town to receive a reduced price on electricity, if I remember right, too. Or am I wrong? Am I daydreaming that? Well, no.
It depends on how we structure the
yeah,
RFP.
it's-
Yep.
right, how the tax credit or power credits are. Yep.
Or at least
Assessed.
municipal use.
Mhm.
So, what was the motion again?
To authorize Tracy to begin negotiations with Power Management.
Do I have a second?
Chuck did.
Yep, I second it.
Okay, discussion is over. All those in favor?
Aye.
That's what you needed, something else to do.
I had
All right.
one more
That's
thing on
something
the plate.
positive. I mean, that's.
called job
we've
security.
gotta start generating some additional revenue, so
Um,
in the right direction.
one of the other meetings that I'd had with Tracy a while ago that I forgot to ask everyone else about is something that I mentioned in passing to Susan about the website was whether or not we want to have a solutions box in town in some format or another, because a lot of people complain to us a lot about things that aren't working with town. And in the business, in my father's business I've been involved with, he doesn't take complaints, he takes solutions. And so what that is something where you have a form that has you identify a problem, you put together all the information related to that problem, you identify choices of ways to solve said problem with pros and cons, and then you identify actions that could be taken by the town. So rather than having people just come forward with, you have to fix this, this is my problem, we come up with a format that people can go through so that they have a little more information by the time they rant at us. And I wasn't sure if that was something that other people saw any value in.
In other words, we don't want to hear a problem, we want to hear, don't come to us with the problem, come to us with the solution.
So,
Yeah.
is that a motion that we should make the selectmen change the way of doing business and make that motion?
Well, it just
I'm teasing, you, you know the answer to that.
How many times have I said that?
Let's,
I could sit.
talk to Susan a little more, talk to other people, let us think about that. I don't know how to implement that, but I mean, I don't think that's an invalid idea. Because there are a lot of people in this town that might be afraid to come forward, and they might have some pretty serious solutions to some of the problems that we have before us, and we haven't thought of them.
I'm encountering stage fright. I beg people to come in and address
there you
their
go.
issues here. Because I
Yeah.
tell people, if you want real things to get done,
Yeah.
Show up.
right.
Yep.
So, I mean, that might be, not saying you haven't thought it out enough, but let's go back
I
to
think
what
more
you,
discussion.
yeah, let's, you know, maybe even look at the model that's working at
Yeah,
the
see if you
automotive
can get
dealership. You know,
A form.
yep,
I could definitely try and put that together.
that's interesting.
I have a meeting update. The Veterans Administration has been doing an awful lot of meetings, going through candidates for the new director's job. There were over a dozen applications. We narrowed it down to 4. We re-interviewed the 4, and we'll be choosing a finalist on the 16th. So, it's been a
When
lot
we-
of hours in that.
When we went to those first original meetings, how long ago was that?
Actually, not that long ago,
How
and I
quickly
was
did we
rather.
lose that regional?
Yes.
How quickly? Within
Yes,
months, right?
within 3 months. He had this gentleman that had the director's job, had an application into environmental protection for many, many, many months, and it just occurred.
So this is the one Ipswich, the Ipswich
Yeah,
position?
we
they've
have,
done a good job for a long time, but I suppose you
Right.
can't tie people in if you go for a job, but it's just it
You know,
really
you
makes
can't
it
cry
hard.
someone down for bettering themselves, but, and I did mention that at the selection, so. All right,
Thanks, Chuck.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Good idea.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.